This book is Cosmic Consciousness by Alexander McIvor. The Buddha spent 7 years in intense longing and desire to attain the liberation which brought him consciousness of Godhood, deliverance from the sense of sin and sorrow that oppressed him, immunity from the necessity for reincarnation. Jesus became a Christ only after passing through the agonies of Gethsemane. A Christ is one who has found liberation, who has been born again in his individual consciousness into the inner areas of consciousness which are of the God-man, and this attainment establishes his identity with the Absolute, or God. In the texts of Taoism, Kwang-se writes, "He whose mind is thus grandly fixed emits a heavenly light. Men see the true man, the God-man, the self. When a man has cultivated himself to this point, thenceforth he remains constant in himself. When he is thus constant in himself, what is merely the human element will leave him, but heaven will help him. Those whom heaven helps, we call the sons of heaven. Those who would, by learning, attain to this, seek for what they cannot learn. You must realize that you reach God through the heart, not through the mind." The riddle of the Sphinx in Egypt is no riddle at all. The strange figure, the lower part animal, the upper part human, and the sprouting wings epitomize the growth and development of man from the animal to the heavens. No higher conception of life has ever emanated from any source than the concept of man developed to a state of perfection represented by wings. No theory of life and its purposes seems more inescapable than that of man's growth from sin to godliness. The evolution of an individual is accomplished when he has learned through the various avenues of experience the fact of his own godhood. The Japanese Buddhist term for one who has attained to the superior phase of consciousness is called shonin, meaning literally above man. Buddhist dharma, which is right action, consists in acting in accordance with the highest motive of which one's consciousness is capable. Back of thought, like a guardian angel, stands the desire of the soul, stimulating and directing. Back of action stands thought, as the master directs the servant, or as the captain decides the course of the ship. The bee buzzes so long as it is outside the lotus, and does not settle down in its heart to drink of the honey. As soon as it tastes of the honey, all buzzing is at an end. Similarly, all noise of discussion ceases when the soul of the man begins to drink the nectar of divine love at the lotus feet of the blissful one, God. He who acts, placing all action in the eternal, abandons attachment, is unaffected by sin as a lotus leaf by water. This translation of abandon does not mean leave behind, but to not be owned or controlled by your attachment. The soul, when enchained, is man, and when free from chain is God. The lamp is the most important symbol in Buddhism, as it typifies the divine flame or illumination as the goal of the disciple. To sum up the evidence of enlightenment as reported in the case of Moses, we find the subsequent intellectual superiority over those of his time, the perfect assurance and confidence of authority and salvation, the desire for solitude, which caused him to die alone in the vale of Moab, the intense desire to uplift his people to a higher consciousness. Wisdom lights the true path and is the light that expels darkness. That we cannot expect to escape the results of our thoughts and actions was the greatest doctrine of Buddha. To keep the mind pure and clean was the burden of his cry. The light within was the substance of Jesus' cry, and that light, when perceived, leads to illumination of everything, both the within and the without. The attainment of enlightenment must include hardship. Wisdom brings with it peace. The truly wise person would not willfully harm any living thing. Wisdom knows no revenge, no eye for an eye. Philosophy makes no demands. Wisdom knows no revenge, no eye for an eye philosophy, and makes no demands. The kingdom of God comes not with observation, neither shall they say, here or here, for lo, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Love conquers fear, which is the enemy of mankind. Jesus taught repeatedly the doctrine of love, and he made no new commandment other than this. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, for the greatest of crimes is this, if a man shall sadden his brother's spirit. Be the most faithful protector of those you protect. Fill those who see you with reverence. All knowledge is God's, yet the individual is responsible for his own salvation by virtue of his good deeds and words. Turn away by that which is better. Have perfect confidence in your purpose and victory. All mean egotism vanishes. I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all. The currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part or particle of God. Knowledge is valuable only as it leads to real wisdom. Nothing is more inescapable than the soul's Sorry, Maximus. Sometimes I can't read my own writing. Freedom can be won only by liberation from the bondage of illusion. All we are is in the soul. The perfection or the imperfection of what we externalize depends upon the development of the soul. Would a lover be a lover if he did not feel the heart? Should he not be the first, the last, the only one? She who loves, will she not quit the world for her lover? Her entire family becomes a memory. She has no longer a relative. The lover, she has given him her whole soul. If she has kept a fraction of it, she does not love. To love feebly, is that to love at all? The word of the lover makes all her joy. The word of the lover makes all her joy, and quivers in her veins like a purple, deeper than blood. His glance is the light which penetrates her. She dissolves in him. There, where he is, all is beautiful. He is warmth to the soul. He irradiates everything. That is the way woman is to love man, and love makes gods of men. Remember that, Maximus. All mystics have found it necessary to veil the secret of secrets, lest the unworthy, because unready, defile it with his gaze, even as the sinful devotee prostrates himself, hiding his face, while the priest raises the chalice containing the holy Eucharist in the ceremony of the Mass. Oriental mysticism tells us that one of the attributes of the liberated one is the power to read the hearts and souls of all men, to feel what they feel, and so to unite with them in consciousness that we are, for the time being, the very person or thing we contemplate. I know that the hand of God is the elder hand of my own, and I know that the Spirit of God is the eldest brother of my own. You must lose yourself in order to gain yourself. We must be willing to endure suffering in order that we may realize the joy, not because joy is the reward for suffering, but it is only by losing sight of the personal self that we become aware of that inner self which is immortal and blissful. And when we become aware of the reality of that inner self, we know that we are united with the all and with God. Out of the absolute we come and return to immortal bliss with consciousness added. Fear is the last and only enemy. Love is more great than we can conceive, and death is the keeper of unknown redemptions. Work as those work who are ambitious, but be not enslaved by the delusion of personal ambition. We must seek to master the personal self by meditation, by concentration of will, by self-discipline and sacrifice. When the true self gains complete control over the mental faculties so that the mind may be directed as the individual will suggests, the student has mastered the path. The mind is the lever with which the self raises the consciousness from the lower to the higher. Control the desires of the body. Make them do the bidding of the self, because it is only by so doing that you can gain the immortal heights of Godhood. In the heart of today is the world of tomorrow. The builders of joy are the children of sorrow.